Good morning, and welcome to the Morning Report. My name is Willie Lawson. The Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, fightbackmedia.com, fightbackmedia.com. I trust that you are well today. I trust that you had a great day, fantastic, amazing day. It is, what's today? Thursday. It's Thursday. And I trust that, again, I trust that you are well. Oh, my goodness. Update on us. We're fine. We're fine. I am actually looking forward to getting back into the studio, not the recording studio, but my teaching studio on Monday. And life is getting back to normal for the family. So that is something that I am completely and totally thankful for. Life is getting back to normal for the family. Spring break is this week, so next week, I guess my son goes back to work because schools will be open and athletics will be going on and life is happening outside. So we're super looking forward to all of that. Can't wait. As a matter of fact, it's going to be cool. Everybody's fine. Wife's fine. Everybody's good. Everybody's good. I got my energy back. Not all of it, but I'm 89.973482449%. I'm good. The inflammation in my foot I kept telling you guys about is improving. I'm not taking a lot of medication for it. I think I'm taking a meloxicam a day and some Advil a day, a dose of Advil a day. So because I'm not eating a lot right now, so I'm trying not to overwhelm my system with medication, any more medication than I have to. But again, we're doing. Thank you for your concerns. We're doing great. But before we get started today, I have to tell you something about one of the partners of this program, our friend Tim Bryce. Our friend Tim Bryce lost his mother this week, and I want our condolences from myself and everybody here at Fightback Media to Tim and his family. Yes, his mom, Jean Bryce, passed away, and the funeral is going to be next week. Let's see. Yeah, she passed away from complications resulting from COPD. No matter how, my wife and I were talking about this, no matter how, how old what your mom or dad is, when they go, it's terrible, and I lost my mom when I was 23 years old, and frankly, I envy people who have their parents for a long time, through multiple stages of their lives. When you were a kid, and then you were a college kid, and then you were, you were out on your own for a while, and then you got married, and then you had your own kids, and your mom and dad were still around, or mom and or dad was still around. That's cool. That is fabulous. So I've always been envious of that because I never really had that. But it's still hard. And again, Tim, everybody here at Fightback Media sends their condolences and our prayers to you and your family for comfort at this time. And of course, if there's anything that we can do for you, we'll be happy to hop right in there and do that. So thank you, Tim, for what you've done for us. And again, our condolences to you and your family on the loss of your mother. All right. Yeah. When we talk about that kind of stuff, it makes everything else just, you don't care. It makes everything else trivial, doesn't it? So let's get on with some of our trivial nonsense today. Part of our trivial nonsense will be, Dr. Fauci, you are not the boss of me. Even Meghan Kelly, I think her name is, had to check Fauci when Fauci's talking about when people can get married and maybe get permission to get married. What? Yeah, this dude, this unelected bureaucrat has spent way too much time in the limelight. Way too much time. We're going to talk about critical race theory in Florida and how Governor DeSantis, our governor, has decided that it is not going to take a foothold in Florida from a curriculum standpoint. Just not going to, and he has some very, 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 very clear. I mean, he's very, very clear about it. So that is, I don't know. For me, that's exciting. And the U.S. House has passed what amounts to an amnesty bill. That's all there is to it. I mean, they call it a dreamer bill, but we're going to sort of get into the nuts and bolts of it. We're going to play a clip from Dan Crenshaw about what's going on there. And then you can decide for yourself. All right, we'll take a little break. We'll be back with more of the Morning Report right after these messages. Thank you ever so much for spending some time with us today. We'll be back right after this. If you are a true blue conservative, small businesses are near and dear to your heart. They are the lifeblood of our life and economy. I believe this, and that's why my florist is not a website or phone number. My florist is Bloomingdale's Flower Shop, Tampa's premier flower shop. At 11618 North Florida Avenue here in Tampa, Florida, and at 6835 State Road 54 in Newport Richey. Call Christine at 813-933-1942 and at 727-232-6900. She can also be reached on the web at www.bloomingdays.com. We are in tumultuous times here on the internet. Many platforms are finally taking this opportunity to rid themselves of conservative voices. A lot of you are learning how this internet game is played and are wondering if there is a place for you online. Well, yes, there is. freedomforum.website is providing a place for everyone to be, including conservatives. freedomforum.website is dedicated to the First Amendment and free speech for everyone. Join us there and speak your mind. One of the things that I get asked most is where can I get information that is not tainted with liberal bias, especially here in the Tampa Bay area. Well, now I have the answer. tbctampa.com, a website by and for Tampa area conservatives. Tampa's leading conservative voices speak freely at tbctampa.com, and you can too. So join the fun and enjoy the freedom at tbctampa.com.
A conservative who seeks truth over the conventional statist wisdom, coming to you from the southern headquarters of fightbackmedia.com, your host, Willie Lawson.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate it, bro. Appreciate you. All right. And if you've not been to the fightbackmedia.com website, fightbackmedia.com website, fightbackmedia.com website, what you'll find there, you get a twofer, two sites for one. The Swanson Report, that's run by my friend Paul Swanson that you just heard, is embedded inside the Fightback Media site. Paul has some tremendous insight and some great analysis on the things that are happening today, and you want to take a look at what he's written. You want to go to those of you who are listening to this on YouTube. You want to go to Paul's YouTube channel and hear some of his takes. You just do, because that's going to make you better. It's going to make you a better, not just a better Republican or a better conservative. It's going to make you a better person. It's going to improve the quality of your existence. I know that's a pretty big thing that I'm saying, but after you hang out there for a little bit, you're gonna see that, dang, Willie was right again. Dang. Yeah. I too have talent on loan from God. All right, let's talk about this for a bit. Let's get into it. Ouchie Fauci, you are not the boss of me. This is an article from our friend Matt Vespa over at Town Hall, and it goes like this: This become a new beat. Who the hell are you, Dr. Fauci? Is the name. Biden's de facto COVID czar appears to think that A, we have to listen to every word he says, and B, he has the enforcement of law concerning his COVID guidelines. He doesn't. He's not an elected official. He's a bureaucrat whose advice should be disregarded on a daily basis. Why? Because he's been wrong more times than not. And after 3 strikes, you're out. Actually, being kind here, he's had several strikeouts. He's a man who likes to hear himself talk. That's it. He's a man who laments the partisanship around his advice, and that the medical experts who have been wrong or just about everything regarding COVID, they were wrong on schools reopening. Florida proves it. Testing, Florida proves it. Masks, Florida proves it. And vaccine distribution, Florida's proving it. The only group of experts that were right about the one particular issue were pediatricians who noted last summer that it was safe for children to return to in-person learning. The Association of I think American Pediatricians, I'm going to get that name right. And if I don't get it right, I'm sure you'll correct me in the comments. I'm sure you will. There were the group that said in the summertime last year that it was safe for children to return to in-person learning. Our governor here in Florida heard that, acted on it, and there have been no breakouts, zero breakouts of COVID in any of the schools that are open in the state of Florida. Let me give you an idea. For some of you who don't understand about Florida, you think Florida is little compared to New York and blah, 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 and all these other places. Florida has, I think, the first, second, eighth, third largest school districts in the country. There are 21 million people who live in the state of Florida. 21 million. It is the third largest state. It's huge. There are a lot of folks here. There are 67 school districts. 67 school districts in the state of Florida. Lots of schools. Every district has in-person learning. Every single one. We asked and answered that question last summer. And now Fauci is Lord of all things relating to weddings. Yeah, this man thinks we need his permission to have weddings in America. Even former Fox News host Megyn Kelly had to remind this clown that he has zero authority to determine what we do in our daily lives. Fauci said Americans might be able to finally schedule a wedding this year. That's a good question. I can't give you an exact date on when. Like, Megyn Kelly said, not sure who misled you on this, sir, but you don't control us. And I imagine there are people who are waiting for Dr. Fauci to say it's okay to do this, it's okay to do that, ignoring what's in front of you, that we've already done it. There are people who have already done it and didn't die and didn't have super spreaders and didn't have any of the things that these people are threatening you with. It didn't happen. So why is there so much division? Look in the mirror, Doc. The answer is right before your eyes. It's because of you people and the trash advice that's been doled out for months. Stay 6 foot away now is 3 feet. Wear 2 masks instead of 1, even though there's no applicable real-world study that shows doing so has any impact on the spread. You guys seem pretty content on keeping the Democrat lockdown. regime narrative alive, even if this circus is about to close up shop because everyone has discovered that what all you said is complete and total bull. People are finding out. You know, it's interesting. I had and you can look for it. It's here on YouTube. It's around. It's a program I'll call Talking With. I had a conversation with my friend Vinny Tafaro way early last year in all this. And we pretty much came to the conclusion that people would start releasing themselves. People will start having dinner parties, people coming over to the house or the apartment, and start basically releasing themselves. They start going out to if there are restaurants open, people will start going out to restaurants. And I said here, sitting in this chair, when Disney opens in Florida, that will be the sign this is over. This is over. Yes, there are mask requirements at Disney, and they're super ridiculously Nazistically strict about it, but they're open. They opened before Disneyland in California. And what that did when Disney planned their opening, that told Universal and SeaWorld and all the SeaWorld and Universal parks, it's on. As a matter of fact, the SeaWorld parks took that message that Disney was opening and went ahead and ran with it and opened first. So the SeaWorld and Busch Gardens and Adventure Island and Aquatica all opened. Actually, probably a month and a half before Disney opened. They took the same sort of guidelines, policies, and just ran with them and called their folks who were on furlough back and have been open. And there have been no recorded outbreaks from any theme park in the state of Florida. It's just not there. And right now, boy, oh boy, oh boy, I'm telling you, my local theme park I'm not working, I've been working all month, but it is busy as heck. It is last year's summertime busy. I mean, it's 2 years ago summertime busy there because it's spring break. It's incredible. I drive by there and go, ooh, glad I'm not working today. Glad I'm not up in there today because it is busy. So these people are gaslighting you. You are looking directly into the eyes of reality, and these folks are telling you that you're not seeing it. You're first of all, you're missing something, or you're not seeing what you're seeing. That's called gaslighting, by the way. That they're trying to make you question the reality that's right in front of your eyes, and they're doing it on all sorts of levels. And COVID is just one of them. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about where it is in another level here in the story after next, because this is what the left's planned. The left's plan is just keep pushing our narrative, even in the face of reality. The lockdowns haven't worked. We now have data that shows that some of the states that had the most restrictive lockdown policies after a year are in similar places, some of them not as good as the states that didn't have any state-sponsored restrictions at all, nearly at all. And I keep using Florida for an example because that's where I live and that's where I know the most about. Florida's unemployment rate is lower than California and New York. Everything about COVID related, Florida is ahead of two states that have had these draconian lockdown procedures. Our deaths, especially among our elderly, aren't nearly as high as a percentage as they are in New York. One policy that we mentioned that policy almost every day this week, so you know what it is. Fauci, you are not the boss of me. It is time for Fauci to say, it's been a hell of a year, y'all. I got to get back to my life. I suggest you do the same. We'll be right back, right after these messages. If you are a true blue conservative, Small businesses are near and dear to your heart. They are the lifeblood of our life and economy. I believe this, and that's why my florist is not a website or phone number. My florist is Bloomingdale's Flower Shop, Tampa's premier flower shop. At 11618 North Florida Avenue here in Tampa, Florida, and at 6835 State Road 54 in Newport Richey. Call Christine at 813-933-1942 and at 727-232-6900. She can also be reached on the web at www.bloomingdays.com. One of the things that I get asked most is where can I get information that is not tainted with liberal bias, especially here in the Tampa Bay area. Well, now I have the answer. tbctampa.com, a website by and for Tampa area conservatives. Tampa's leading conservative voices speak freely at tbctampa.com, and you can too. So join the fun and enjoy the freedom at tbctampa.com. We are in tumultuous times here on the internet. Many platforms are finally taking this opportunity to rid themselves of conservative voices. A lot of you are learning how this internet game is played and are wondering if there is a place for you online. Well, yes, there is. freedomforum.website is providing a place for everyone to be, including conservatives. freedomforum.website is dedicated to the First Amendment and free speech for everyone. Join us there and speak your mind.
A conservative who seeks truth over the conventional statist wisdom, coming to you from the southern headquarters of fightbackmedia.com, your host, Willie Lawson.
All righty, we're back. Thank you ever so much. It's looking. I am so looking forward to next week. I hope I sound better. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, I'd love to. Please say so in the comments, and please like and subscribe to the channel. Paul and I would appreciate that greatly. Really, really happy to decide to press the button and actually, have these upload to YouTube every day. And if that's where, and so because some people, this is where you get your podcasts and your videos all in one place. It's like one-stop shopping is just easier. Now, the show is also on Spotify. It's everywhere you get your podcasts now, including YouTube. So if you are wanting to listen, you put YouTube on and you're in a house and you're fiddle farting around or whatever, there you go. There may be videos, I don't want to say, but if you're watching this and you subscribe to the channel, you'll find out that there are hundreds of videos, Fightback Media videos that we've been doing over the years. And you'll find that some of them are of all sorts of different topics. A lot of them are political, but some of them are not. Some of them are not political. And you'll get the sort of the full flavor that is Fightback Media, the full flavor, because flavor is where it's at. All right, and all the stuff that sort of ended up on the channel. I don't know how it got there, but that's where it is now, and that's where it's probably going to stay because it's just way too much trouble to move it. All righty. CRT, critical race theory, is DOA in the FLA. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is ridding Florida public schools of critical race theory. During an official education announcement this week from Naples, DeSantis blasted the indoctrination curriculum as hateful and anti-American. Here's what he says, in no uncertain terms here. Let me be clear. There is no room in our classrooms for things like critical race theory. teaching kids to hate their country and to hate each other is not worth 1 red cent of taxpayer money. We will invest in actual, solid, true curriculum, and we will be a leader in the development and implementation of a world-class civics education. There you go. Now, you know, and I know, that there's going to be this incredible pushback, especially from Democrats. Democrats want DeSantis out of office so badly that they can't sleep. They can't sleep. They were so close last time that they can't sleep. You know, it's like a sports team that gets really close to winning the championship and they lose in the last seconds. Y'all remember, right? Y'all remember the Seattle Seahawks New England Patriots game where there's an interception on the goal line when they could have just handed it to the running back, except they try to get cute and throw an interception, and New England wins that game. Y'all remember, right? Seattle got that close to winning that game, and they lost. The percentage it was a razor thin win for Ron DeSantis. I'm just going to tell you. See, for those of you who aren't here, y'all think that DeSantis, because Trump liked him, won in a landslide. Not at all. Just the opposite. Razor thin margin. So Democrats are going to push back on this so hard, and we're going to cover this because this is a really important thing. Under the governor's proposal, teachers who got credentials in teaching civics will get a $3,000 bonus. So if you're a social studies teacher or American history teacher, or if you're in social studies and you want a few extra bucks, now a few extra bucks is $3,000. $3,000 isn't going to change anybody's life. Nobody's saying that. But if you get credentialed in teaching civics, you would get a $3,000 bonus. Some $16.5 million will be devoted to training teachers and principals in civics education. The training would come from civics, quote, coaches, in-person seminars, and virtual learning. That was from the Associated Press. Meanwhile, the proponents of critical race theory have been infiltrating school districts around the country. In Virginia, parents opposed to it are being put on lists for doxing, hacking, and public shaming. Yes. Yes. This is one of the things, and I guess this sort of melds into what we're going to talk about next. This is one of the things that the left is continually trying to gaslight people over. That there is this racial division in this nation, when factually there isn't. In reality, there isn't. And I can prove it. I want you to prove it for me. I want you to go out to the grocery store today or tomorrow or this weekend or to a park, and I just want you to walk around. And I want you to do something that you probably don't do all that well. I want you to watch people. I just want you to watch them. I want you to see black people, and I want you to see white folks, and I want you to see Hispanic folks, and I want you to see Asian folks, and I want you to see Mediterranean folks, and I want you to see people and how they interact. I want you to see if you can see biracial couples, either married and or dating, because if you look for them, they're flipping everywhere. Everywhere. So this idea that this is a racist country with systemic racism doesn't pass the smell test. It just doesn't pass the smell test. Because reality says, look around. Look at what people are experiencing now. Look at the business owners. Look at the teachers. Look at the doctors. Look at the judges. Look at the lawyers. Look at the politicians. I mean, seriously. If this was a racist country and there was, quote, systemic racism, then how are these things possible? If every white person is interested in white supremacy, how are these things possible? How could this be going on in a country that values white race over everything and everybody? It just doesn't pass the smell test. Reality comes in, I mean, like a big heavy metal boot, and goes, that doesn't fit. But the left wants you to keep believing that because they've been able to use it. It is the easiest way to divide people. And if you can divide people, you can pull people to your side and you can get support money for all sorts of ridiculously, incredibly wild stuff that you can try to convince people that's happening when reality says it's not. The United States has like every place in the world, has a checkered past. There isn't any way to deny that. It isn't any way there's no way to deny that the United States has a checkered past as it pertains to race and as it pertains to immigration, and as it pertains to women's rights, as it pertains to any number of things, as it pertains to the people who are living here, the Native Americans who were already living on this continent when the Europeans got here. The United States has a checkered past. And by the same token, the United States has a fabulous past by virtue of the things that this country, ever so young, on the planet, has been able to accomplish, and the good it's done in the world. Thus checkered, right? Think about this, folks. Let's not lose perspective. The United States is a brand new country. Absolutely brand new. We just started this game. We are brand new. And let's see here. How brand new? 2021 minus 1776? 245 years. Think about how little time that is in comparison to places like England or Greece or China, India, Japan, Russia. 245 years. We have been, at some points, a force for great good, and at other points, not. Just like everywhere else in the world. There isn't any good reason for not having a civics program in this country that tells the entire story, and for the most part, tells how our government is supposed to work. Because the biggest division, and I'll get off this in a second, I promise, the biggest division in our nation right now is not race, it's not gender, it's not any of these things. It's the concept of this. What is the role of government? A civics class should teach us what the role of government is in this country. And that in other places, the role of government is different. Here in America, this is the role of government. This is the role of the federal government. This is the role of your state government. This is the role of your local government, your county and your city government. They all have different jobs. And this is how they work. That's what civics should be about. Civics shouldn't be about race. Civics shouldn't be about concentrating on the evils of slavery and white supremacy. That's not what civics is. That's not what civics is. We'll have more discussions on this for sure. All right, we're gonna take another break, and then we'll hit the last story, and then I want to talk about something completely and totally and awfully trivial. I will be back right after these messages. Thank you for coming to the Morning Report. The Morning Report is a production on the fightbackmedia.com, fightbackmedia.com. My name is Willie Lawson. One of the things that I get asked most is, where can I get information that is not tainted with liberal bias, especially here in the Tampa Bay area? Well, now I have the answer. tbctampa.com, a website by and for Tampa area conservatives. Tampa's leading conservative voices speak freely at tbctampa.com, and you can too. So join the fun and enjoy the freedom at tbctampa.com. We are in tumultuous times here on the internet. Many platforms are finally taking this opportunity to rid themselves of conservative voices. A lot of you are learning how this internet game is played and are wondering if there is a place for you online. Well, yes, there is. freedomforum.website is providing a place for everyone to be, including conservatives. freedomforum.website is dedicated to the First Amendment and free speech for everyone. Join us there and speak your mind. If you are a true blue conservative, small businesses are near and dear to your heart. They are the lifeblood of our life and economy. I believe this, and that's why my florist is not a website or phone number. My florist is Blooming Days Flower Shop, Tampa's premier flower shop, at 11618 North Florida Avenue here in Tampa, Florida, and at 6835 State Road 54 in Newport Richey. Call Christine at 813-933-1942 and at 727-232-6900. She can also be reached on the web at www.bloomingdays.com.
A conservative who seeks truth over the conventional statist wisdom, coming to you from the southern headquarters of fightbackmedia.com, your host, Willie Lawson.
All right, we're back. Thank you ever so much for spending some time with us. Before we get to our last story, I just have to mention this. I'm sorry, it's completely trivial and stupid, but some of you may be interested in what I think. And most of you are not. So, just sort of, if you're not, so sort of, it's about Meghan Markle. So just zone out for a minute, and I'll be back with something important in just a second. I promise. It's interesting that Piers Morgan, who I'm not a fan of necessarily, after listening to what Meghan Markle said, he just said, all he said was, I don't believe her. And that was enough to send the left into a tizzy, into a complete and total tizzy. I don't believe her. Now, it doesn't make much sense that the Queen will give a rip about the color of a child who is never going to be queen, who is never going to be king. Ever. Because as far as I know this works, it's William who's in line for the throne and his children. Not Andrew and Meghan. They're not even a second or third thought. And that's the only reason think about this, what you know about the royals, that they let them get married in the first place. If indeed that she had married William or tried to marry William, that would have never happened, because since 1010, the monarchy has been protecting the bloodline over everything. Think about how badly they treated Lady Di. Think about how badly they treated Fergie. Nobody was more white than Fergie, right? Because she was redhead, Irish, or from Ireland or whatever, right? But all the monarchy cares about is protecting that bloodline. They've been protecting that bloodline for a millennia. So if Meghan Markle thinks that she can get on, and little Prince Boy thinks that they can get on the cover of People magazine and say how mean the Queen is and how mean these people are, and that will affect them. Think about this. Since 1010, all the conflicts, all the attacks, everything that's happened, the monarchy is still there. Hell, the Queen is married to her third cousin. Yes. Philip is her third cousin. Why? Because it's about the bloodline. Period. And for those of you out there who don't understand what's happening, and you just think they're a bunch of old white people that hate this really pretty black girl, and she has this black girl magic. No. It's about the bloodline. It's the most important thing. The Queen doesn't care if she's black. The Queen doesn't care. And it is interesting. Let me take one diversion from here. Isn't it interesting that the left is using the very same methodology of who's black that the slave owners and the racists of the 1800s and through the 1900s used, especially in the South, the one drop rule, right? If you are one drop, if you can find some black in you somewhere, you are now black. They're using the same methodology to decide who's black and who isn't, who's under their umbrella, whether that person is even chosen to be under their umbrella or not. This is why we can't pay them any real attention. We have to watch what they're doing and be mindful of what they're doing, but there isn't any use for any back and forth on social media or anywhere else, because everything they're talking about is the products of nonsense and bigotry and racism and hate. So ignore it. All right. Let's see. Let's finish up this morning. Let's see if I can get I've got two monitors and I've got them in the wrong. You ever put up two monitors and then you figured out that you've got them in the wrong place? Because you think you're going to swipe over from one to the other, and you swipe and it goes the other direction. It goes out of the right monitor into the left side of the other one, but you have to move your head. Yeah, that's what I've done here. I've screwed this up. So I'm gonna have to change this back like I had it before, because I've really jacked this up. The Amnesty Bill, and there's two of them. There's no other way to characterize them, have passed the U.S. Senate. Now, I don't know if they're going to have an easy time. They've passed the U.S. House. I don't know if they're going to have an easy time in the Senate or not. If indeed they require 60 votes, they won't get it. Maybe. We just never know where some of our Republican friends are going to be. And actually, sometimes we do know where some of them are going to be. But a U.S. amnesty bill, two of them have actually passed the House. And we're going to bring in our friend Dan Crenshaw to give you his view on what was being considered and what got passed.
Crisis on the border, hundreds of thousands of people crossing illegally. Biden says there's no crisis at all. What are we voting on today in Congress? Amnesty bills. Look, so the premise of this entire conversation is the dreamers. Now, I think we can have a pretty reasonable conversation about kids who have come to this country because their parents brought them here. They don't even speak Spanish. They have no memory of their former country, and they fully embraced the American way. We get that. Let's have a reasonable conversation about that. Here's the thing. There's a way to define dreamers. The Obama administration defined them within a certain time frame, certain age, and it ended up being about 800,000 people, okay? So now the Democrats are trying to sell this amnesty bill as the Dream Act. They're making you think that we're talking about dreamers, but we're not. Because here's what they did. They redefined dreamer. They basically said that here's the new parameters. You have to have been in this country before 2021, and you had to have shown up here when you were under 18. Okay, but here's the thing. That means a 50-year-old man could basically say, well, I mean, I've been here, and I came here before I was 18. How can you prove otherwise? And if that doesn't give amnesty to everybody, this next bill will. It's called the Farm Workforce Modernization Act. Sounds great in theory. Here's what it actually means. It means if an illegal immigrant has been working on a farm for at least 6 months over the past 2 years, they get amnesty, permanent residence, on a pathway to citizenship. Here's the thing. Not only is this immoral, right, because it allows a lot of illegal immigrants to cut in front of the line of legal immigrants, it's the exact wrong time to be doing it. We have a crisis on the border. The last thing we need is to be incentivizing people to keep coming across. It's not fair to legal immigrants. It's not fair to American workers. It's not fair to our nation's sovereignty.
Nope, it is not. It is certainly not fair. But this is what's happening. Who could have thought that it would be worse? That it would be worse than the Obama administration, right? But this is what the left does. They push and they push and they try to get as much territory as they can. That's how they do. That's how they do it. That's how they'll continue to do it. So in a 228 to 197 vote, the U.S. House of Representatives passed the Dream and Promise Act Thursday night, which would provide, listen carefully because this is super important, which would provide legal status and a path to citizenship for 2.5 million dreamers, so-called dreamers. The legislation passed with the support from 9 Republicans. We just heard from Representative Dan Crenshaw. The American Dream and Promise Act of 2021 would increase both illegal and legal immigration, would significantly increase agency and court backlogs, and would lead to skyrocketing costs for the American taxpayer. The legislation is a bold attempt to trade American national security, sovereignty, and well-being for perceived political benefit. The Federation for American Immigration Reform noted that they opposed the bill when introduced in 2019. It passed the U.S. House of Representatives in a 237 to 187 vote, but did not become law. Speaking of their concerns under a Biden administration, the Federal American Immigration Reform people said this: amnesty in the midst of a full-blown border crisis of President Biden's own making is an affront to common sense and the American people. This bill does not acknowledge the crisis at the border or the abuse of our asylum process, much less offer any steps to remedy the situation. It offers a clear indication that amnesty and virtually unchecked migration is now the lone priorities of the House Democrats on immigration. The only crisis, as far as House Democrats see it, is the lack of amnesty for illegal aliens already here. And the bill aims to fix that problem. The House also passed a Farm Workforce Modernization Act that same night, on Thursday night, which would allow for an estimated over 1.5 million farm workers to apply for legal if they have worked in the United States in agriculture for the past 6 months. I mean, for 6 months over the past 2 years. So despite the catchy title, it does nothing to actually modernize America's agricultural workforce. The Farm Workforce Modernization Act is a naked attempt at mass amnesty at the worst possible time. The bill would amnesty over 1 million illegal aliens and encourage further illegal immigration. Further, it would place an amnesty to aliens in a strange limbo period, tying them to agriculture for years using a restricted work permit and promising a path to citizenship. Because you have to have that slave class that the Democrats love so dearly. As FAIR's government relations team has noted in the press and informed lawmakers on Capitol Hill, this is an indentured servitude. Heritage referred to the bill as one of the most egregious immigration amnesty bills in recent memories. The bills are being voted as standalone strategically, which CBS said may represent Democrats' best chance of getting immigration legislation through an evenly divided Senate. Market Watch, however, emphasized a different take, noting that the bills face a tough time in the Senate. And I most certainly hope they do. So get with your Senate Congress critter. Get with them. Let them know that you know this is coming and there's no way they can sneak this by you. There's no way. And like Dan Crenshaw says, we can have, and we probably should have, a reasonable discussion on those 800,000 people that their parents brought them here. I mean, under those conditions, brought them here when they were children. A lot of them don't even speak Spanish. A lot of them don't even remember Mexico or South America. They don't. They've been here. They're American kids. They're Americans. We could have a conversation, a reasonable conversation about that, because it seems like we should. Now, I know a lot of our listeners here and a lot of my local folks were really mad at Marco Rubio when he was talking about just that, because they were hoping for a more hard line. Sorry, kid. Sorry, your parents broke the law. Yeah, I know that you went to high school here, and I know that you were a star, and I know that you went to university, and you're living the American dream, and you're doing well. Yeah, go back to Mexico, but I'm not from Mexico. In a very similar way that I often don't tell people that I'm from New Jersey, because they immediately want to go, well, do you remember this? You remember this? You remember this? You remember? Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, I was 7 when I left New Jersey. It was that summer between me being 7 and 8. No, I don't. I remember hardly anything about it. As a 6-year-old, 53 years ago, I don't remember anything about it. None. I am as much from Florida as I am from anywhere. So I get the concept. And I think that, you know what's frustrating? If you look back through my videos, and you go to Blog Talk Radio, and you look at Real Talk, those podcasts in 2013, after the second election of Barack Obama, I told Republicans in the Congress to take up immigration as their thing. That's what they needed to be doing. I told them that because it's going to happen one way or the other. And if you lose if you don't get the jump on it, it's going to be crap that you don't want, like we're experiencing today. So this conversation about, quote, dreamers, end quote, we could have led that conversation. Not for political reasons, not for votes, but to be able to build an immigration system that works. That works for the United States, because our immigration system has to work first for us. If it doesn't work first for Americans, then it's broken. It doesn't have to work for the immigrants. It has to work for the Americans. And if it doesn't work for the Americans, then it's broken. Then it doesn't work. That's all there is to it. So now, can we still have these conversations? Can we still have these conversations? Are we going to be mature enough to be able to have some of these conversations, especially about the dreamers? Can we get a situation where we can redefine who a dreamer is? Hell, even going back to Barack Obama's definition of who a dreamer is would be preferable than Biden's definition of who a dreamer is. Can we go back to that, at least? Can we have that conversation? And could we just not pass the Farm Workers Modernization Act and just throw that piece of trash in the rubbish can where it belongs? All right, folks, it's been an hour. We got to get out of here, maybe with somebody else. Again, thank you for coming to the Morning Report. My name is Willie Lawson. The Morning Report is a production of FightbackMedia.com, FightbackMedia.com, FightbackMedia.com. Until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you.
We appreciate the time you took today to listen to the broadcast. Please check the links below on how to further interact with the FightbackMedia.com network. Please remember to like and share this broadcast with your like-minded friends and family. Also, we'd appreciate your subscription to the broadcast, and make sure to hit the notification bell so you're notified when we upload new content.